Hello guys, welcome to What's in Your Psalms, and we really enjoyed this ride. This ride has been really good, interesting. We've talked about different topics, and I feel like as we started out with this, it has led us to our today's topic, which is doubt and hard questions. Before we get started, I know that I dealt with some really doubts and hard questions in my life. Can you guys agree with me? Can you guys identify with something like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and start with this question. You guys ready? It's, what are some examples you've seen of people wrestling with questions and doubting?
I think the first two that really stand out to me, and I think we see it in Hagar's experience of realizing that God saw her and heard her. You know, I think those questions of like, does God even see me? Does he really hear me? I think those are mine.
Yeah, let's see. Growing up, I wondered often, how do I know that I'm saved? And later on in life, I was like, is God even real? And then another question that I asked, what's the difference between a good Christian boy and someone who God considers righteous?
I know for me, I've been kind of in a position like Job where I'm just wondering, like, God, are you punishing me? Like, is this suffering coming from you? And like, is it because of something I did?
You know, I think there's a lot of really hard questions too about theology. You know, we have examples of people dedicating their whole lives to studying and the historical significance, cultural significance, you know, different versions of different topics, and I think the example it gives us is that, you know, there's so many different ways of looking at things, and at some point we just have to devote ourselves and come to those conclusions on our own and devote those to God.
Definitely. So as you guys can see, I have friends here that have dealt with questions and doubts in their lives. They're just like you, made out of flesh and bone, and maybe you're struggling with some of this, and maybe you're also asking yourself, where do these questions come from? Can you guys help us with that? Where do you guys think these questions are coming from?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, in general, like, doubting and asking those questions, like, in the simplest way, it's like, it's only our nature as humans to doubt something that seems so awesome and, like, bigger than us. But it's like, it's also important to understand that you can't truly have faith without having those doubts and asking those questions. Because I think that, you know, the Lord created us the way we are for a reason, and He blessed us and gave us the free will to think those thoughts and question Him so that we could grow stronger in our relationship with Him.
I think it's also just a sign, like when you're struggling with doubt and you're having these deep, hard questions, that you're like thinking deeply through it, and you're considering, you know, what do I believe and why do I believe it, and you're seeking wisdom and understanding through that process, and you know, attaching meaning to all these things in life.
I like that. Thank you guys for sharing that. You know, I feel like maybe it's also important to ask ourselves, how is society affecting us in this? Can you guys help us understand that a little bit?
Well, I feel like some of the pressures that we have placed on us is, you know, to not rock the boat. You know, don't ask those questions, or don't talk about that, or you know, this idea of like, no, just do it, just obey, just be the good Christian. You know, don't think about that because you might deviate, or when really that it closes us in. You know, it's this idea that maybe we should just have this blind faith because it might be easier, it might look prettier, like might look easier, but you know, I feel like that pressure really affects us.
Yeah, so, you know, growing up, our parents and our teachers help shape our worldview, and as we begin to get older, we begin to question, we begin to be able to question those belief systems and those the people that uphold those belief systems, and sometimes those belief systems are wrong, and they need to be changed. You look at slavery, you know, and that's something that our nation has largely abolished. So it happens.
Yeah. I
think another thing that happens is when people are put in a position of leadership, whether it's formal or it's informal, you feel like you have to just be like perfect and you have to portray a certain image. You must have all of the answers to all of the questions, and I think that there's a certain degree of humility that comes with being like, you know what, there are some things that I will never know, and just answering that in a very honest way and being like, you know what, I don't know. I can look into it, you know, I can search, but I can't guarantee that I will know after it either. And just the message that it sends when we're able to be like that.
Those are good responses, guys. I feel like it's really important for us to let the audience know that it's okay to pay attention to symptoms like that. It's okay to be aware, like if you're feeling like you're being closed off or someone's telling you, hey, like just don't ask any questions about why the boat is rocking, or you know, it's really good to know that you guys took the initiative of asking. You know, you guys didn't just decide to be comfortable where you were at, or else I feel like you're really not going to know if the world was going to be squared or not. I mean, if we would have just listened to that statement, the world is square, it's a square thing, well then we had to go discover it, right? We had to probably end up going somewhere else, and we discovered it's round, right? And we have Google and satellites and stuff. So how do you guys think, how does avoiding the topics affect our society?
Yeah, so I think in general, a healthy relationship with the Lord and an environment that kind of like nurtures that means that people involved have the freedom to express themselves and their feelings to the Lord. And your personal relationship is very reliant upon that, you know. And when you're in an environment or a culture that doesn't encourage that, there's really no room for growth, and it makes it very difficult. And you know, there's times where people end up kind of leaving their group or anything because of that.
Yeah. I think another thing is that if we refrain from having these difficult questions and difficult conversations, then our faith remains shallow, and you know, we may be more focused on having the best or the most correct theology, or you know, whatever, instead of loving people. And I think we see that in some of today's society, is that we haven't had these difficult conversations as much as perhaps we should, and things are difficult now because of it.
So how do we make safe spaces, like safe environments for thoughts like this and conversations like that? What things can help us to create that?
I know, so like it's important for leaders to establish clear intentions when they have conversations like these. There's places where these conversations need to be had, and there's some places where these conversations shouldn't be held. Facebook is a very difficult place to have a conversation, because people are behind their computer screen, and they're not responsible for how you feel, it seems like. But if you're in like a building, or maybe a church, or a small group setting, you know, those clear intentions, boundaries for the conversation, and starting and ending the conversation with like a sacred ritual, like a prayer, will just it'll set it off, or get it started on the right foot, and that'll help a lot.
Yeah, I think another important thing is like the way we go about it. You know, are we speaking at someone, or are we speaking with them? Are we seeking to be understood rather than seeking to understand? You know, so often when we are listening to someone, we're really just waiting to say our piece. we're not really processing what they're saying. We're just kind of wanting to share our own opinion on something rather than to understand where they're coming from and build empathy through that.
Yeah, and I think something really important that I saw recently about empathy was talking kind of the spectrum of how different emotions are connected, and I was talking about pity, sympathy, empathy, and compassion, and how they all go together. They kind of build off of each other. You know, and pitying, sometimes it's a really negative connotation, but really it's just the acknowledgement of a hurt or an acknowledgement of a difficulty, seeing that. And so then the next step is sympathy, you know, caring about it, thinking that, okay, I see this and it's important. So then the next would be empathy, where you feel for it. You see it, you care about it, and then you feel it as if it was you, which then leads you into compassion, which is wanting to act on that feeling for that person. And, you know, these safe spaces that we want to create is, like Rachel said, when we're listening, are we actually going through acknowledging, caring about it, feeling for them, and wanting to act on what we're hearing? And maybe we don't agree on what they are talking about, but maybe that wanting to act is, okay, I want to continue talking, I want to continue listening, or I want to see their point of view, I want to figure out how did they come to this place, you know, rather than just arguing back, rather than just trying to prove someone right or wrong. Allowing that conversation to be engaging for everyone.
Yeah, I think one of the things about like developing the capacity within ourselves to have these conversations is to improve our ability to hold paradox, which just means kind of two ends of the or two ideas at the same time. And so like I grew up understanding, you know, this way, and here is another set of, or another way of thinking that challenges my worldview. And you can see Jesus doing this when he's giving the Sermon on the Mount, and he talks about blessed are the meek, and blessed are the poor in spirit. And so he's kind of upending our way of viewing authority, and instead of it's a dominant authoritative power, rather it's servant leadership. So he gives us a unique model for leadership.
I like that. I really like the way you guys definitely helped us understand that. So maybe before we finish and try to wrap this up, what is an encouragement that you guys would definitely want to give to society or even ourselves of welcoming conversations and topics like the ones we try to seek?
Yeah, I think I just want to encourage that if you find yourself in a season of doubt, or if you find yourself asking either yourself or God some really hard questions that maybe you don't have the answers for, maybe you don't see an answer on the horizon either, that you engage that curiosity. You don't talk down to yourself for having these emotions or having these questions, because that is you seeking Him. That is you drawing nearer to Him. You know, He's big enough for all of that. And I think sometimes we get scared of the searching. We want it to end. We want just it to be easy. That's not the point. Every step we take, we get closer to Him, and that curiosity He created in us. He wants us to feed that, because, you know, He is the God of wisdom. He is the God of knowledge. He is the God of everything. But so in trying to figure out how this works and why, and how He works and why, helps us understand Him better.
Anybody else would like to share on that?
Yeah, I just would encourage everyone to be genuine in your answers, and especially leaders. Like, it's okay to show your personality in your answer rather than just what you feel is the right answer. It speaks volumes.
This could probably help. Let me tell you something. Jesus even questioned God one time. said, why have you abandoned me? You know, and maybe we'll just leave that there. It's a little free pass for you guys to kind of wander off, and it's okay. It's okay to have hard questions, even the questions that maybe no one has asked you before. It's okay to doubt. I think it's definitely part of faith. Okay, you can't really have faith without doubting, but which one are you going to end up leaning towards to more? So we want to encourage you to just keep allowing moments like that to yourself, and hopefully this video has helped you understand and maybe given you the courage to ask more, maybe giving you the courage to allow doubt moments to come in and challenge you in your season that you're in. So we love you guys and hope to see you guys on our next video. So take care, make sure to share the video, and that's pretty much it. Bye.
Bye.